G'day guys, it's Mark here from North Oz, and in today's video we're going to be doing an off-road test on my brand new 2023 Toyota Hilux Rogue. So we're doing a few days camping a couple of hours south of Cairns at a beautiful place called Cardwell, and they've got all these beautiful pine trees here. They're lovely. You know, they line the sides of all these tracks that they've got. They've got this pine forest drive that you can go on, and there's a few water holes there so you can go in for a swim. It's a lovely place. I really like coming here. This is the third time I've come here, and it's a really good place to test my vehicle. Now, I did an off-roading video on my Prado 150, and I use the exact same track. So that's what I'm going to be comparing this vehicle to in my experience. And I've also been in a Holden, Colorado as well. Shout out to my mate Alex. So I kind of know how modern-ish utes work. I kind of know what the basic setup is, but I also know as a measuring stick how my Prado 150, which was a 2021 model, how that reacted on the exact same road. Before we start today's video, YouTube tells me that there's 85% of you guys watching this right now that haven't subscribed. So if you could go ahead and do that, that'll help me out a lot. I listen to you guys in the comments section, so make sure that if you have any questions or anything like that, put them in there. I always reply. And this was actually a highly requested video from you guys. So you guys wanted a off-road video of the 2023 Hilux, so this is what we're doing today. So I take everything on board. I listen to you guys. You have great ideas as well, and you help me out a lot with things like my camp setups and stuff like that. So we'll get straight into it, guys. Let's do it. Alrighty, guys, here we go. We are going to set off. And like I said, I haven't done too much off-roading in this at the moment. It's really just been down the one road, mostly just to get a few photos and also some videos. So I'll try to talk to you guys as we're doing this, give you my thoughts as I'm kind of experiencing them as well. Yes, it's going to be interesting, especially to see how it goes against my Prado 150. And like I said, the initial thought so far, we've got a big section here, just lots of potholes. Yeah, not too bad. Like I said, the Prado was just so good off-road. You know, the Prado would just eat up all those bumps. But on the bigger bumps, you know, I did find that there were its limitations. You know, it did find those bump stops pretty quickly. I think that the suspension as well wasn't as tuned for off-road. And I'm hoping that this ute is a little bit more tuned for off-road. Because that's what Toyota said. Toyota said that the suspension on this vehicle has been designed, you know, more for off-roading. So we'll see how correct they are today. But so far, just on, you know, nothing too intense. These are slight corrugations here, and don't even notice it. Not at all. So so far, excellent. You might hear a little bit of rattling around in here because I do have quite a bit of camera equipment in the footwell here of the passenger seat, so it's kind of close to the microphone, so you guys might hear a bit of banging around from that, like that. But you know, just so you know, that's not the suspension. All right, so we're going down this Cardwell State Forest Drive. We're basically going from one end to the other. That's the plan, and we're going to stop off at the very end for a swim. So that will be nice because it is a hot day, and it has been very hot. They're due for some rain soon, so hopefully we get that once I've packed up because I don't want to have to air out all my stuff when I get back home. All right, here we go. We're on the main section of the road now. We're off those little side roads, so let's see how it handles. This is where most of the big potholes and corrugations are, because that's where most people do the driving, especially in two-wheel drive vehicles. All right, so here we go. So that you guys know, I've got this set up just with the standard two-wheel rear drive at the moment. I'm gonna see how this goes for a little bit. It hasn't gotten squirrely on me just yet. It hasn't started swerving, carrying on yet. So I'm kind of hopeful at the moment that, you know, Toyota have done a pretty good job of setting up the suspension on this, that you don't need to activate 4 high every time you get on the slightest bit of gravel. So we got some corrugations here. Camera gear bouncing around there. Yeah, good. Not too bad at all. There's a bit of a tricky section coming up here. Got corrugations going down to a bit of a riverbed, and yeah, I can feel that back starting to get a little bit squirrely there. We'll see. Yeah. So again, that cabin intrusion is quite noticeable, but I feel like the suspension is holding up quite well. so that you guys know as well, because I want it to be a fair test, I've put the pressure of these tires exactly the same as what I had on my Prado 150. So it's around, depending on the time of day and stuff that you measure the tires, but I had them at cold at about 35. So it's around 34, 35, something like that. I know that's not what you should probably have for corrugations and potholes and things like that, but I want it to be a fair test. And listen, it's not going to destroy the vehicle in the space of 10 minutes. So I want it to be a fair test, see how this goes kind of at full pressures. And so it's a fair test. It has to be a fair test to the Prado 150. If I add down the tires to 25, then it wouldn't be fair. And that's what we're all about here. But you can see I'm getting bounced around quite a bit. That's that cabin intrusion that I was telling you guys about. That wider wheel track is quite noticeable at how stable it is. I think having those wheels further out from the middle of the vehicle has really made quite a big difference. Comparing this to a standard dual cab ute from other companies, I feel like that this is really stable. Now I'm doing a big trip in the middle of the year at the moment, if everything goes well, and you know what things have been like lately. We're trying to plan trips, but you know, if things go the way they've been going, we have a big mid-year trip coming up, and you know the plan is to go up to the Cape. So that's going to be a really good test for this vehicle as well. Probably have to get a new set of tires for that, I think, but you know, we'll see how things go. Tires are expensive, you know. Everything you want to get extra is always expensive, so it's kind of how it goes. You can only go as fast as the wallet goes. What do you think of it so far, Ginger? Well, it must be comfortable because she's falling asleep already, so that must be good signs. And look at this. Oh yeah, look at that. We're already at the end of the Forest Drive, so it's a pretty quick drive, that one. There is an extra section that I can do, which I might film, so might go ahead and do that now actually before we pull up camp here for a bit. So let's do that. Now that drive wasn't really long enough, so I might just pull out of here, and I'm going to stamp on the accelerator a little bit just to see how that traction control works. So I'll turn the camera around so you can kind of see what the dashboard reads as I'm doing that. So a little bit of traction control engaging there. And we've got a little bit of water over the road here, so this will be a bit interesting. Nice little water crossing there. That's a little baby one. So we'll just go like maybe another minute or two up this road. It is going to still have some more potholes. I don't think it's as bad of a road as what we just came off, but yeah, we'll see how things go. And I think that we'll be able to draw some conclusions pretty quickly after the next 3 or 4 minutes. So let's see how this goes. Oh, big potholes here. Oh yeah. Yeah, I didn't feel that as much when I was in that Prado for sure. So we've got a nice wide open space here, so I might get on the speed a little bit more. See how it goes at speed. I'm going about 60 kilometers an hour now. And we've got some small potholes coming up here. Corrugations. Feels right to me. Feels good. I think at speed this thing does its best work. And I could kind of, I could feel that back kicking out, I could feel that back kicking out for sure once I went over those bigger potholes at speed. You can kind of see why you would use 4 high in a ute when you're going along these dirt roads with the potholes. So yeah, interesting. I'm gonna come back the other way now I want to turn around here. I want to put it in 4 high, and I'll see how it handles after that. See if we still get that same reaction out of the rear. That was interesting. I haven't felt that before in the Prado, because it's almost always in 4 high anyway. That's how it's set up. Interesting. Yeah, I didn't like the way that back kicked out, because there was a bit of a fishtail there. All right. Well, let's go back the other way. I'm going to chuck this in 4 high now, and we'll see how it feels. This looks like a good spot as any to turn around. On these tracks, there's not a lot of room. All right, so we should be okay. Just go straight to 4 high. All right, we're in 4 high now. It's fully engaged. We've got no blinking light. It's a solid light now. And we'll see how it handles now in 4 high. This is my first time trying 4 high in a ute, so we'll see how it feels. Let's get some speed up here, and we'll see if we can hit that same potholes at some speed. Interesting. No fishtail there. Let's get that speed up. We're at 60 again. Hitting the same potholes here. Yeah, it didn't react the same way. I'm going to keep the foot pretty flat here, keep it consistent. Yeah, no, that felt exactly the same as the Prado, except obviously a bit more cabin intrusion, but definitely as safe. Thankfully, the brakes in this are pretty good, because I just had a kangaroo jump out in front of me. So if you're wondering how the brakes go off-road, they are excellent. Obviously, no front bumpers or front bull bars are made for this vehicle just yet. So, you know, maybe when they're available, I might pick one up. But in the meantime, you just got to drive carefully, especially when you know there's wildlife around. Oh, yeah. I've reached my destination, which is a nice little place to cool off, and Ginger will get a bit of a run around, and she'll have a bit of a swim too, I think. In terms of how this went off-road, I was impressed. It was better than I thought it was going to be. It was better in high 2 than I thought it was going to be. In high 2, the back didn't kick out as much as I thought it was going to. If I was in my old Navara, I would have been all over the place. But there were still some little fishtails before the traction control and the electronic stability control started doing its thing. But I think, you know, if you're going that fast, which I was trying to upset the vehicle on purpose to test to see where the limits are, you should do that on all your vehicles, obviously safely, of course. But once I put it in high 4, which is comparable to the Prado 150, remember I did this exact same track in the Prado 150 2 months ago, so the track's very similar. In high 4, I think that the vehicles are comparable. I think that the vehicles are very similar, especially once you hit the really, really big potholes and deep corrugations. There's not much in it, which surprised me a little bit. I would say the biggest point of difference between the Ute and the wagon was that the Prado 150 absorbed the smaller corrugations better. So that was probably my one, pretty important observation, or my 2 important observations, is that the 2 vehicles are very comparable. This does an excellent job off-road, I think, because of the additional changes that Toyota have made to the suspension, making it stiffer, a bit more off-roadable with pushing the suspension further out, having wider, bigger, lower control arms, and stuff like that. So I think that Toyota have done a good job on this. I've driven in one other Ute on corrugations, and it was not as good as this. So that's kind of my comparison. So I think that Toyota is onto something with pushing those wheels out wider, and adds a lot more stability. So in conclusion, am I upset that I sold my Prado 150 for the Hilux, because I'm going to be doing a trip up to the Cape and doing a whole bunch of off-roading in this? So I'm kind of stuck with it. But thankfully, no. Thankfully, I'm not upset. I'm very happy with my purchase. Off-road, this is great. I just know that if I'm bringing my speed up a little bit more, and I'm hitting corrugations and things that's going to upset, especially the back, because I know that that back was lifting up, and then once that happened, I was losing traction. I could feel all that for sure. But once I put it in high 4, it was a completely different story. It didn't feel anything like it did before in high 2, and that back was a lot more planted. You could just feel that it had way more traction. So yeah, in conclusion, I'm happy with it. I think that Toyota have done a good job on this ute. I think that I haven't tested a 2022 SR5, so I don't know how those go compared to this. But, you know, a recent ute with traction control that I have been in, I would say this is better than that. So take it or leave it. But my measuring stick, of course, is the Prado 150. And I think that this is as good off-road as a Prado 150. Just over the smaller stuff, you're going to feel it more in the ute. It's just the way it is with the way that the rear suspension is set up. But overall, I'll leave it there. I'm pretty happy with it. And yeah, let's finish off the video. I hope this video was interesting, gives you a bit of an idea of how this new 2023 Hilux Rogue sort of works. You know, it's an interesting vehicle. I'm really enjoying it so far. Takes a little bit of getting used to. Dimensions a little bit different than the Prado 150, so I'm trying to find my spot on and off the road as well. So yeah, it's a learning curve for me, changing vehicles, changing body styles, and obviously, you know, with the fender fairings and all this, you know, all the stuff that this Hilux Rogue has, it's got a lot of interesting things on this, and I'm trying to figure out where some of the weak points are that I can change. Yeah, it's an interesting vehicle, and I'm really enjoying it so far. It gets a lot of looks. It's a beautiful color. Stands out really lovely. Stands out awesome for pictures as well. As you guys know, I love taking pictures. So yeah, at the moment, I'm really enjoying this vehicle. It was a good purchase. I'm happy with it. And that ute tray flexibility has been so good. In the last like 5 days, I have gone from taking 200 to 300 kilos of gardening supplies in the back to taking that out and then putting all my camping gear out and putting all my camping gear in. So it's an awesome flexible vehicle. I'm very happy with it. It's performing exactly how I want it to, and probably performing better than I'd expect out of a ute. So I'll finish it off with that, guys. If you like today's video, make sure that you click that like button, because that helps other people find the video as well. And also subscribe. YouTube tells me that there's about 85% of you guys watching this right now that haven't subscribed yet. So if you could do that, that'll help me out a lot. And with that, guys, I'm going to conclude it there. I'm very happy with this vehicle so far. And if you have any questions, put them in the comment section. Any video ideas, put them down there as well, and I'll happily answer them and also take them on board for the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you down in the comment section.